Hello Scorpio, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section will be looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you're a cross-watcher, just know that this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right. Scorpio, let's jump on in here. We're going to look at overall energy through oracle cards first, and then we'll dive deeper into the story with tarot as we progress. So we're going to start with looking, Scorpio, at your side of this connection to the person you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. I also want to mention I've started posting a few general readings every single week to my Instagram and TikTok pages that are not posted to YouTube. YouTube readings will stay the same, but if you're interested in that additional content, the information for those accounts is below. Scorpio's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with, please. Oh, okay, that wasn't intentional. I didn't even see what the card was. Might have been solitude. Actually, it might have been that drama card. Might have came out again. Grief and sadness with drama. Okay. There's a lot going on here. Immediately as I pulled this, I feel like there's a lot of confusion around like what to feel when it comes to this connection, because I feel like, you're obviously in this energy of grief and sadness, but I also feel that there's this, this energy of like nostalgia associated with it too, where it's hard because I feel like you do really care about this person and care about this connection. And there are those moments where you're like, I miss this and I wish, things were different and better. But then there are those times where you're like angry and frustrated and, feel, this deep sadness. So I feel like there's a lot of emotion around where you're currently at, or where this connection is currently at. Now, this drama card, I feel like there's this connection has added a lot of chaos to your life. It's almost like it disrupted your peace in a sense, added a lot of like drama and chaos to your life, even though I feel like you thought it was going to do the opposite at one point. So yeah, I kind of also get this energy of maybe anger or a lot of frustration, or just like, why the heck did this happen? Or did I go through this? Or did I even meet this person? Which I can certainly understand. But let's see what's going on with this person's energy toward you. I don't know what this person did, but they certainly want your forgiveness. Yeah, but then there's the deja vu. It's like they want, so this is something that has repeated a lot. And then underlying is manipulation here. So it's like this person does certain things that aren't, like I said, that add like this chaos, this drama, this negativity to your life. And then they ask for the forgiveness just to kind of like do it all over again. It feels very much like a repetitive cycle here. They show up in a certain way, they do certain things, there's certain behavior here. And then it's like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I never meant to hurt you, and then, there is that forgiveness, and then it's just like you end up in the same place. And I feel like that's why you're struggling so much. Is I do feel like there are times where things are good in this connection, which is why I feel that there's that, like, I don't really know what to feel energy, because it kind of feels like if this person would, I don't know what they've done or what they're doing, but if they would stop doing certain things, that things would finally just work and it would be fine. But yeah, this is definitely bringing a lot of things to the surface here. Truth of the connection. And I think that manipulation card isn't that this person isn't like intentionally being manipulative, but the only real apology is changed behavior, right? Otherwise it is manipulation, because they're just saying what they need to say, you know, to move things in a certain direction. Even if there's intent for things to be different, you know, intention doesn't excuse behavior. So even if things, you know, if certain behavior is repeating, they can be like, well, I never meant to hurt you. Okay, but you did. Or I never meant to do these things. Okay, well, you did, right? So I don't know. I feel like there is a lot here. Truth of this connection between Scorpio and this person. Healing with connection here. I feel like you feel, I want one more actually. I feel like you feel a very, oh, whoa, two more, and they're very opposite. Ego with separation. Okay. I feel like you feel a very strong, a very deep connection to this person. I kind of heard when I said that, I wish I didn't. Like, I feel like you wish you didn't feel so strongly, and that this was something that you could just kind of move past or move away from or just heal from and move on from. But there is a reason you and this person met. There's a reason that things unfolded the way that they did. And it's not because you deserved it. But a lot of times, you know, people come into our life for so many different reasons. But every single relationship that we have is an assignment. It's put into our life for us to heal, learn, grow, evolve, you know, deepen our connection with ourselves. And if we're not paying attention to the deeper purpose of why things unfold, we run the risk of repeating the cycle. And when we don't want to repeat cycles and we want to experience better things, there's always a need to kind of look at the bigger picture and understand like why, you know, we were led to a certain situation in the first place. So this connection is very obviously in separation, and I feel like there's a lot of reasons why too. Like, this isn't, I don't feel like this was just kind of like a one and done kind of thing. I feel like this was the repetition of a lot of certain things that eventually led to this separation. And I don't feel like either person is necessarily all that happy with the separation. And I'm not saying that, like, even if it was your choice, I feel like you were felt very backed into a corner here. Like, you didn't have an option. And then I feel like with this person, if it was their decision, I don't know. I just ultimately feel that there's a lot of pain here. Now, this healing card does kind of feel like this is trying to push you into deeper healing to help lead you to the love that you do deserve. So I do believe that there is a purpose here for this connection, and ultimately for why you and this person met and things unfolded the way that they did. But let's dive into this a little bit more. Overall theme of this, I'm trying not to, my sleeves are so puffy, I'm trying not to knock things over on my table. Overall theme of this reading for Scorpio here. Pride keeps us apart. And it's interesting because I see this, because he said ego. Ego led to the separation. Ego keeps you two apart. So ego is a very prominent factor in why things unfolded the way that they did in this connection. Triggers. And this some people never change card on the bottom. I feel like, to say the least, this was a very triggering connection. Like, it really pushed you into a lot of really intense feelings and emotions that I feel like a connection never really has before. And maybe that was on both sides too. Maybe there was like, I've never felt this good. And then it was like, man, I've never felt this bad. And I think that part of the frustration and anger stems from the hope that you really felt when you saw the potential in this, and like feeling almost like that was taken away from you. Like maybe it felt like it was like dangled in front of you just so you can, just to be removed from your life. And I feel like that's not what Spirit was trying to do with this connection. It doesn't feel like this was trying to show you what you could have just to have it taken away from you. I feel like there's more to understanding. There's more to be understood in a way. But let's dive into this more. Scorpio side of this connection, drama with grief and sadness. Scorpio's energy toward the person they are dealing with. Okay. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Here you are. Queen of Cups, Two of Cups, Nine of Swords. Whether you're male or female, you could be this Queen of Cups energy. We all have feminine and masculine energies within us. Two of Wands in reverse. Interesting. Okay. This Wheel of Fortune in reverse is kind of bringing about this energy that I feel like, oh, there's the Page of Wands too, that I feel like I was really feeling and trying to portray at the beginning, where I felt like, because the Wheel of Fortune in reverse to me is this energy of like a blessing in disguise, where it feels like things are going wrong or are not working out, but they are working out in a way that you're just not able to understand. And I don't even necessarily feel like you're being asked to feel like this is a good thing, but I do feel that you're being asked to look at the bigger picture here. But if I were to break down kind of this energy, I feel like you had, because with this Two of Cups, you obviously brought a lot of really genuine love and care to this connection and to this person. And I feel like you felt very almost like that love and care, or your feelings for them were kind of like taken advantage of, like almost like they knew how much you cared in a way. And I can understand why you would feel that way too, with just kind of the way that I feel like they're showing up on the surface. This connection highlighted a lot of insecurities for you, especially around maybe not being enough, or, not being worth being like committed to or chosen in some way. And I think that it kind of deepened certain beliefs maybe that you've carried around what's possible for you in love, especially if you felt like, you had what you wanted just to have it taken away from you, right? That can feel like, okay, I had what I wanted and it got taken away from me. That must mean that I'm not allowed to have the things that I want. And I don't think that's the case at all, especially with this Page of Wands. I feel like this is really kind of talking about inner child wounds, specifically around love and the type of love that you've been taught that you're deserving of. I feel like this connection really almost made you feel as if these insecurities that you've carried around love were for so long, like were real and were true. And I feel like a big part of that is because of how you were consistently treated in this. Because this has you really in your head. I feel like there's a lot of overthinking associated with this. And like I said at the very beginning, I feel like it brought you some of the best feelings maybe you've ever had, along with some of the worst. And I think that has been just really confusing for you overall, because, what do you make of that, right? It's like, well, this was as good as I've ever really felt before. I've never really experienced those kinds of feelings before. So why did it have to end this way? Why did it have to go this way? And And I think that especially when we show up like in the best way that we know how, because like with this Queen of Cups and this Two of Cups energy, it does feel like you were, very genuine and very compassionate and caring and empathetic. And yeah, it's almost like you saw who this person really could be. Maybe beyond ego, beyond wounding. And I think that you really held on to that and tried to do whatever you could to bring that out in them. And yeah, I think that it ended up hurting a lot in the end when it felt like no matter how hard, you tried or you showed up, that it didn't matter, because the way that this person showed up never fully aligned with what it is that you do deserve. So yeah, I mean, this has been a very, I feel like, difficult and painful situation. And yeah, I feel like you're sitting in this energy of I don't really know what to think or what to feel. And I think that there is a deeper purpose for this. I really do. People don't come into our life to show us that we don't deserve the things that we desire. People come into our life to show us what needs to be healed or addressed so we can have the things that we do deserve and desire. But it's hard to see that when we're in the thick of it. All right, let's see what's going on their side here. Deja vu with forgiveness. This person's energy toward you. This person's energy toward Scorpio, please. Six of Swords in reverse. The Five of Cups on the bottom, too. They're disappointed with how things are in this connection. I do feel like they are also very disappointed in themselves, too, to be honest with you. I do feel like they are aware of I don't know what happened. I don't. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of times in these readings, that's not really for me to know. This is for you, not for me anyway. But I don't know what happened. But I do feel like whatever happened, whatever they did here, they are, in this energy of disappointment with themselves. Person's energy toward you, Scorpio. Two of Wands in reverse. They're really in their heads about this too. There's a lot of overthinking here. What happened? I'm just going to straight up ask, because I feel like that... Three of Swords. The Three of Swords happened. They hurt you. Yeah, for some reason, Spirit's being really vague around, like, what actually went down, and I don't feel like that's not the part that matters. It's not what happened, it's why it happened. Okay, can you explain more of that, please? Oh, in reverse. Okay, Seven of Wands in reverse. Oh, okay. Four of Cups. Yeah. So let me just straight up ask this. How does this person feel about Scorpio? Okay. Ace of Pentacles with the Devil. Okay. Yeah. Okay, there's a lot to break down here. So I don't know what happened. They hurt you. And to be honest, like I said, I don't really think that I'm supposed to know necessarily like what happened or what went down here. There is obviously regret. And I feel like this person tends to do things that they regret later on. It feels like they make decisions that are very misaligned with the things that they really desire. There's a lot of self-sabotage here, doing the things that end up hurting them even at the end of the day. And I think that, and I see this all the time when it comes from a place of, not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, not feeling deserving of what it is that you desire, like you're going to sabotage it. You're going to make decisions and do things that go very much against the actual desire that you have. It's like when somebody has a big dream or goal and they don't ever actually go for it, or, they have this fear of failure. So they allow that fear of failure to carry them into making decisions that doesn't actually align with the success that they want. And it's not, the way that I feel like things unfolded and the way that this person acted, it doesn't have anything to do with what it is that you are worth, what it is that you deserve, what it is that is possible for you in love. It has to do with what they believe is possible for them and love. And I feel like you showed up with so much love here in this connection that it's almost like this person didn't know what to do with it. It's like it felt, because I asked, how does Scorpio feel about you? And then the Ace of Pentacles with the Devil came out. And I feel like they saw you as like this opportunity that they essentially screwed up. Like, I feel like they see themselves as the devil in the situation. And I feel like they see them as like messing up something that's really good for them. But here's the thing. They have the Six of Swords in reverse, and then they have this Four of Cups, especially, and also the Seven of Wands in reverse, which is definitely this energy of there's no change. Like there's no difference in behavior here. And I think that that's the thing about repeated cycles is there's usually, I would even go as far as to say always, a reason below the surface for the things that we do. We don't just self-sabotage for no reason, right? We usually self-sabotage because we don't believe we're worthy or deserving of the things that we desire. So we screw it up before it even really has a chance. And that is something that this person very much deeply carries. They carry these beliefs that they can't have the things that they deserve and desire, so they mess them up. They mess up what it is that they really want. And it's not something that they do intentionally, and it might not even be something that they're consciously aware of. But it certainly is something that they have to address and work on. I can actually relate to this energy a little bit, and I've talked about this on this channel before. I used to not be very healthy in relationships and just kind of in general. I used to be a pretty toxic person before I did any healing, and specifically in relationships, I was really unhealthy and really toxic. And I had many, good people try to love me and try to love me well that I pushed away aggressively, that I treated very poorly, not because of how I felt about them, but because of how I felt about myself. And trust me, I've worked through a lot of guilt and shame around this, okay? So I'm not saying that it was an excuse. But what I learned being on that side of things was that I never meant to hurt anybody, but I was always out to hurt myself. And I didn't realize that that was the case. But I thought I was worthy and deserving of essentially not being able to be loved well. And so I almost became this person that proved that I wasn't worthy of love. It's like it was like this self-fulfilling prophecy. And after doing a lot of healing, kind of waking up to understanding these patterns, I learned that I ran very aggressively from the love that I ultimately desired and loved, and made really unhealthy choices and had unhealthy patterns. And I did all of this because of me. It wasn't because of other people, it wasn't how other people treated me. And I learned also that my healing, in order for me to really receive the love that I deserved, I had to open up to deeper healing and ultimately understanding why I did the things that I did, which was not easy. It was not easy to look at myself honestly in the mirror and to start to address where these things were coming from. So it does kind of feel like this person, because it very much is true, hurt people, right? People who are deeply hurting, people who struggle, they do hurt people, but nobody can save hurt people. except for themselves. And that was another thing that I learned. I had many people try to save me, try to, love me into loving myself and to being who I needed to be. And it never worked, because the healing had to come from me, and it had to be a decision that I made, not for anybody else, but for myself. And when I did a certain amount of healing, I actually ended up in relationships where I was on the other side, where I saw people who were very much like me, who were hurting and who were struggling. And I tried to fix, save, and heal them, because I could see, certain parts of myself in them. And that's where I feel like we have to look at the bigger mirror in our relationships. This person does want your forgiveness. They do want this connection. And I think that they really do deeply desire it. But if somebody doesn't feel that they are capable, worthy, or deserving of having the things that they desire, they are going to mess it up. Time and time again, they are going to do the things that don't align with what it is that they deserve. And it's going to end up hurting you. And one of the things that, understanding this and realizing this really opened my eyes to a couple of different things. And that was that people have to choose their own individual path of healing. It's not something we can choose for others. And secondly, when we attract people into our life, and this is kind of speaking more for your side of things, Scorpio, who need fixing, saving, and healing, there is a part of us that believes that we aren't worthy and deserving of people that are able and willing to love us in the way that we deserve, that we're used to inconsistent love, that we're used to people who don't treat us well, or who don't accept us or love us in the way that we deserve. And when we attract those kinds of relationships into our life, it's not showing us what we do deserve, it's showing us what we believe we deserve. We attract the love into our life that we believe that we deserve. And when we dive into what that really looks like and understand that if we're attracting people who are in places in their life where they might love us, but they do not know how to love us well or to show up for us in the way that we deserve, it's not about what we can't have. It's about the universe, it's about spirit trying to show you the mirror of what it is that you've been taught you believe that you deserve, so that those wounds can be healed and ultimately lead you to the love that you deserve. And I believe that's why you have healing and connection in between this, is because this connection is helping you address maybe some really, not maybe, definitely some really deep wounds that maybe have taught you that you're unlovable, that you're unworthy, that you're undeserving of the things that you desire. And maybe that's why it's been so frustrating, is you're pouring so much into someone and still not getting what it is that you deserve, right? But they're not acting the way that they're acting because they don't value you. They're acting the way that they're acting because they don't value themselves. And when we learn to understand that other people's behavior doesn't have anything to do with us, it has everything to do with them, we start to understand where our power is, and we're able to look at that bigger picture so that we can find our healing and ultimately be led out of cycles that reflect our wounding and into cycles that reflect our healing in our relationships. I'm going to hop on over to the extended. This is a longer reading, but I feel like this really needed to be broken down. I'm going to look at the deeper purpose and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Any information for that is in the description box below. Thank you so much, Scorpio, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this helped and resonated, and I'm wishing you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. Bye, Scorpio.